Good morning. I just decided to get on here and talk about some things that have been going on recently. It just kind of got my wheels turning, made me start to think about some things, and I wanted to share. So, I'm probably the 9 millionth video out here just this week talking about narcissists. Let's talk about narcissists. I'm not going to go through, I was writing in my journal here, and that's how I got the idea. I'm not going to go through the list of, what is a narcissist. I think there are so many videos out there that already cover that. I think we're good. I'm not going to go on and on about life in a narcissistic relationship. I've been in one. I've also been made aware of the fact that I, too, have demonstrated narcissistic traits. And I've accepted it. So I wanted to share, when you have two people who are in a relationship, married, they get together, however that happens, and they're in a long-term relationship, and then things go wrong, and the next thing you know, you have one person saying, that person's really, really bad, I'm leaving. I want to break it down. First of all, I think the word narcissist is way overused. I think that a lot of people these days are on a witch hunt. They point out any little movement, motion, bad behavior, anger issues, anxiety issues, depression, any number of things. There's borderline personality disorder, there's schizophrenia. There are a lot of different mental illnesses and issues that can cause somebody to demonstrate poor behavior. And they're not all narcissists. It just seems like everyone out there wants to point at somebody's bad behavior, manipulative, lying, turning things around, twisting a story. They point out gaslighting, and immediately that person is labeled a narcissist. And I just think that needs to stop. I feel like we're in the Salem witch trial days, and the new word for witch is narcissist. It's just what it feels like. It just seems like everybody that does something wrong, the next thing you know, narcissistic abuser. That's just what they're called because they've done something wrong. But the fact of the matter is, no, they're not all narcissists. They're just people who have done something wrong. They've demonstrated bad behavior. And there are so many different reasons for that. We're not psychologists. I'm not a psychologist. I don't think most people who get on Facebook and are super sleuth detectives, keyboard detectives, I don't think that most of them are psychologists. So I just think we need to let the psychologists do their job and stick to our job, which is watching the video and forming our own opinion, and then maybe saying, in my opinion, this is what I think. But you have so many people that say, I was in a relationship once and I watched this video and I saw that person's behavior, and I know that person's a narcissistic abuser and they need the death penalty. Like, what is that? What exactly is that? Where's the evidence? What have you just done? Because you were in a situation at one time and something happened, I did some videos on domestic violence and on some things that I had gone through. That does not make me an expert. I am not an expert, and I can absolutely tell you, I can never watch a video and watch somebody's expression or watch one little scenario on a video and determine with certainty what that person is. I will never be able to do that. Even if I had a degree in psychology and criminology, I would not be able to do that. If the police officers aren't able to determine those things in an hour or so, being in person with them and doing all the questioning and having all the facts, then I don't think we're able to do that watching a 4-minute video. I just think that's that's a no. So in talking about narcissists, what I wanted to bring up is that number one thing that I want everybody to know and remember is that a narcissist is a person who has been injured somehow in their formative years. Formative years are ages 1 through 7. When somebody suffers an injury, an emotional, mental, or some sort of an injury in those years, it sticks with them for life. An injury, not necessarily meaning a beating or physical abuse, but say that a child is born to a mother who's on drugs and she abandons them all the time. Or say that a child has parents who are fighting all the time and they hear nothing but fighting and chaos when they're little. What if a child is born to somebody who's constantly putting them down as a little kid, just telling them your opinion doesn't count, sit down and shut up, just saying really hurtful words that basically give them, a little 3 or 4-year-old, the message that they don't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. You don't matter. When people are raised in ways like that, and it doesn't have to be a parent, it can be a child care giver provider. It can be a babysitter. It can be a doctor or, anybody trusted in the community. It can be anyone, a neighbor, an aunt or an uncle, a relative, a friend that comes over, anyone. But if that child, depending on how sensitive they are, and some people are more sensitive than others, some people absorb that and it affects them. And some people are just, bounces off of them. They're like, whatever, I don't believe you. But in a child's formative years, a lot of things happen. And some of us are raised with a lot of nurturing and care, and some of us aren't. So the narcissist is a person who wasn't raised to be made secure, a person who was somehow made fearful of the world, fearful of life, fearful of people, fearful of getting hurt, fearful of underachieving, fearful of losing a relationship. These people are fearful. A narcissist is a fearful person. Please keep that in mind. They're fearful. That's how narcissism starts. Narcissism goes one of two ways, and it goes 150,000 different other ways too, but I'm just going to give you the basic two. There's covert and overt. You can go on any website and learn what a covert and an overt is, but one of them becomes arrogant and larger than life. And they poof themselves up and they present themselves as I'm better than everyone else and I'm going to rule the world. Those are the ones who oftentimes become CEOs of companies. Sometimes they do very illegal things and they rip people off, or sometimes their company is even, found out to be a scam. They usually get out of whatever it is they did. They get on to something else. They escape justice somehow. They write a book. And they become the CEO of something else. And they just seem to never get caught. They just seem to keep going from project to project. And they're always like doing shady, dirty things. But they just believe so much in themselves that they post pictures beside Lear jets. And they write a book about their rags to riches story. And I know a few of those. I've been around a few of those. Those narcissists are overt. They just they can create an entire company and just crush people and then just move on. And gather up the money and leave and, unscathed. And that's one way of looking at a narcissist. And not everybody who does that is a narcissist either. Sometimes people just do that because they're assholes. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I'm sorry. Anyway, you can't even point at somebody like that and say you're a narcissist because you don't know. We just really don't know. But that's one of the kinds of, somebody who is hurt on the inside and fearful. Sometimes they just become larger than life because that's their mask. That's the way that they protect themselves from the outside world, by becoming overachievers. Then you have a narcissist who is covert, which is a stealth narcissist. And the stealth narcissist does not show themselves to be arrogant or, a super achiever or like the CEO of a company. A covert narcissist gets themselves into a little position where they have a certain amount of responsibility, and they have things that they do that help people or that make them just look like bright shining stars. And their mask is to be oh so angelic. They're just the sweetest thing you'd ever want to meet. Example, somebody marries, a woman marries a man. Okay, now in this case, the woman's going to be the narcissist. She marries a man, they get together, and they start having children. And she decides to leave her very high-paying job, and he's working. And she stays at home with the kids. And she starts to just be involved in every PTA, every event, they're Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. I don't know if those are even a thing anymore, but sports. And she's the one that's, making the handmade blankets and bringing the cookies into school and just being super mom. She's on every activity board, and she's on the board of her church, the board of directors for the association that she works with. She just does everything. And everyone just praises her. I mean, everyone who knows her is just like, and they go to her husband who's in the office all day making the money to support all this. And who's he? Wait, who's he again? Oh, yeah. He gets up in the morning and doesn't even really have much to do with the kids. And I don't understand why you're even with him, because he's like doesn't really participate that much with the kids. And geez, she's never around. Like, why do you even stay with him? Whoo. So in the public's mind, she is Wonder Woman, and he's just dirt. Why is he dirt? Because he goes to the office every day, and he's not on all these committees, and he's not in the newspaper. He didn't have a write-up. They didn't do a TV review on him. He didn't just start a cooking blog. He's not out in the public with his face going, and hey guys, it's me again in the morning cooking you something good. He's not America's sweetheart. He's nothing. He's just the dirtbag that this wonderful woman is married to. But wait a minute. Oh, that's right. He's going to work every day, making $150,000 a year, supporting all these activities that she's doing. But she's okay with being the star. She doesn't mind that people think he's a dirtbag. Let him be a dirtbag. As long as she's getting the praise, as long as everyone loves her. Then one day, the unthinkable happens. He gets so tired of her behind the scenes cutting him down and belittling him and calling him names, that he lets out all his anger. And what does she do? She calls the police. Oh my God, he just lost his mind. I don't know what happened. I'm so good to him. I'm so good to him. And he just yelled at me and he started throwing things. I was so scared. Okay, he gets arrested. He loses his job. She tells everybody what happened, divorces him, moves on to marry some other guy, leaves him in shambles. That's a narcissist. That's a covert narcissist. Stealth. Super mommy homemaker. Now, the difference between a narcissistic person and somebody who's not a narcissist is at the level where people are calling her husband a dirtbag. If a person is a great mother and doing all those things, I am absolutely not putting that down. That is a wonderful thing to do for your family. That's the Proverbs 31 woman. And if you are that woman, I am not talking about you. The difference between a good woman, a truly good woman, good wife and mother, and a narcissist is where people are calling him a dirtbag because he's always gone and starting to put him down when he's really making money and doing good things. The difference is when the wife chooses to not stand up for him. That's the difference right there. If she's eating up the public's opinion of him and going along with it and following that narrative, there's a good chance she's saying those things to him behind the scenes too. That's where that person starts to show narcissistic traits and not just normal people traits. So I just wanted to kind of make some things clear. Those are the two types of narcissists. And I said I wasn't going to go into a long list of the traits of a narcissist, which I won't. But those are just the two types of narcissists. Not Everyone who displays those traits is narcissistic. I can't say that enough. You cannot point to somebody just because they're a CEO and they're ruthless and say that's a narcissist. You cannot point to somebody just because she puts her husband down and you hear her putting her husband down and complaining that he's never around the kids when he's working. That's not necessarily a narcissist. You don't know a narcissist until you see the whole package. You got to see the whole thing, and you've got to see it over a period of some time. You can't point out a 2, 3, 4 minute video and say that person's a narcissist. You can't. You can't. You don't know. You don't have enough information. There is still a thing in this country, contrary to the belief of some of the witch hunters out there, there is still something that we have in this country called evidence. You need evidence before you can convict. So just remember that. Without clear evidence, your opinion is just an opinion. And every person you see who's doing something bad is not a narcissist. Thank you. One other thing I want to make sure that I get across before I go. Like I was saying, a narcissist has a lot of fear. They're a fearful person. If you can imagine a small child hiding inside of this person who's doing things that are making you crazy, okay? Imagine a small child hiding inside there with a need. It's almost like in The Wizard of Oz, you know, when the guy was like pulling the strings, the hoof, poof, poof, and puff, puff, and poof. And then all they saw was this big, giant, scary wizard. And then when they opened up the curtain, the guy behind the curtain was that. The Wizard of Oz is probably the one movie that describes and explains narcissism better than any other portrayal I have ever seen in my life. The guy pulling the wizard buttons in the control room is a narcissist. He has to be big. He has to control everything. He has to be the wizard. And when you get to the actual person who's pulling the strings, who's wearing the mask, when you get to the inside into the person, they are afraid, they're scared, they're timid, sometimes depressed, oftentimes suicidal. They don't know how to cope. They're afraid of abandonment. They're afraid of rejection. They're completely insecure. Wounded, scared, insecure person who's afraid of everything and depressed and doesn't know how to cope. That's what you have. That's what you have on the inside. That's what they really are. They're trying to project that they're something else. They're trying to be something. They need that praise. They need to know that they're better than somebody else. And yes, they do vicious things sometimes. Sometimes the things they do aren't always vicious. Sometimes they're not even aware of how they're stepping on people and hurting people. And they hurt people and just walk on and never know that they did. Sometimes they do it viciously and maliciously. And they clearly want to hurt people. It just depends. It depends on the narcissist. They're not all the same. They're like anybody. They're all different. So you don't know who's who and what's what until you've been around a particular person for a while. Now, for anybody who says, you know, I was with a narcissist and this is how you get back at him. This will get him. I see a lot of those too. This is how you drive a narcissist crazy. This is how you really stick it to a narcissist. Please stop. Please stop that. You're hurting somebody who's already hurt. Stop that. There's no need to get even with a narcissist. There's no need to stick it to them. They did what they did to you out of pure terror and fear. Yes, it was horrible what they did, but retaliation is not the answer. What a narcissist needs more than anything is for somebody to take them by the hand and say, look, I need you to know that I love you for who you are. I will never reject you as a human being. The things that you're doing are not cool. I know what you're doing, and it's having an effect on me. You may or may not understand it, but I want you to know that I truly do love you. You in there. But, you know, I have boundaries, and I can't accept somebody who's constantly calling me a liar, accusing me of things, putting me down, accusing me of cheating. I just, it's something that I'm having a hard time dealing with. And I really, really, truly hope that you are well in your life, because I wish the very best for you. I just, you know, can't have those things. And then just leave. Just leave. Set boundaries. Tell them what your boundaries are. Make them aware that you've set those boundaries and that they're stepping over them. And tell them that you're just going to go. And you can tell them that you're going to go after the car is already packed. You don't have to do it beforehand in case they get violent. But leave them alone. Don't stay. Don't stay and try to pick on them to make yourself feel better. Don't do that, because it only makes things worse, a lot worse, for you and for them. So don't do that. But anyway, this is 20 minutes long. I don't like my videos to be longer than 20 minutes. So I just wanted to get all that out there. I'm not an expert. Like I said, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a guru. I don't even have, you know, tons of experience, personal experience, but I do know this. I do know that I am willing to say that I don't know everything about everything. And I'm just hoping that more people out there will just watch videos, look at news channels, you know, watch things that are going on out there, form an opinion, by all means, have an opinion. You can express your opinion, free speech. I just hope that people will start to express their opinions as opinions instead of expressing their opinions as fact when it comes to labeling other people. Because the more we label other people and claim that what we're saying is fact, the more our society turns into a big witch hunt. And we don't want that. You don't want that. I don't want that. So let's just have opinions without labeling. And let's not use the word narcissist in place of the word witch. Let's not hunt them down. Let's not call people narcissists and hunt them down and want harm to come to them. And let's try to understand each other, even people who are doing things that are, you know, bad behavior. Let's try to understand that those people are damaged, hurt, wounded people who don't need us to kick them. They need mental health help. Hopefully this country will wake up and try to find people some mental health help. But let's pray for them. Pray for those who abuse you. Love everyone. You can love from a distance. Create those boundaries. Those boundaries are important. Have those boundaries in place and use them, because your only weapon is your boundary. And that's all you need. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm at 23 minutes now. Everybody have a wonderful day.